joining us here at the State House. We've had you in the studio before, up here for a number of wage bills this afternoon, and I want to go through them piece by piece, but it's really the wage equity one that you want to start off with.
Yeah, that's a big one. So right now, trying to get equal pay for women and people of color is a significant thing. Women earn, Rhode Island is better than most states, where it's 87 cents to the dollar here. We're not like New Hampshire, where it's 79 cents to a dollar.
So we're in the bottom of the pack, but
we're pretty high.
We're getting up there.
We're getting up there. So we almost have equity. It's really important that we keep that momentum going. There's no reason why anyone should get paid differently for the same work, regardless of gender, race, or status.
And there's definitive metrics that can be absolutely. For this, yes?
Absolutely.
Speak to that a little bit.
So wages are one of the most studied subjects there are of all the subjects. EPI has done study upon study, which has proven that when you have equal pay legislation and when those things happen, not only do the conditions of women improve, but conditions of whole families, since women tend to control larger proportions of household income. It's a big roll-on effect for putting money back in people's pockets.
How many folks do you expect to be turning out for the hearing today on this?
I'm not sure. This is actually a pretty hard bill. We hope to have at least 10 or 15 folks here. Chamber of Commerce usually puts out an equal number of women to testify against it, so we'll see. I don't understand it either, but it's a thing that they do. So.
What is the argument from the other side when they come out against it?
Soft. They have soft arguments. They don't have a metric on it. They say that women prefer childbirth, and because they're choosing childbirth, they don't get the same professional, time. They don't put the time into developing their careers, and for that, they deserve less. And that's the root of the argument. I wish I could make up a better one, but that's really what it comes down to.
And so as you talk about Rhode Island being good, getting close to it, what have we seen in other states? Have we seen movement in other states?
Yeah. So California's been doing really, really good on this. They tend to be leaders of the pack on just about all wage issues. It's a strong shower in New York as well. Massachusetts has legislation as well.
So there's a couple other pieces of legislation I want to talk with you about today. The unlawful employment practices of asking an employee for their wage history. You're going to be talking about this.
Why would that be a bad thing? So one of the ways to suppress wages is by making people negotiate downward. Without knowing what a base is, there's no way to do it. So if you're a new employee coming to the workforce and you don't know what the standard is, and if your last job paid you half, then you'd never know. And also, if you're a woman or a person of color, chances are you're paid less anyway, so you would always negotiate a lower rate. And without knowing that, you're starting on the back foot. So we're trying to eliminate that practice.
Do we have a sense of around the country where this is at with states?
So we're a pioneer. We're a pioneer in this, and this is something that Rhode Island should be really, really proud of. This will do so much for building equity, and again, it's about putting money in people's pockets at the end.
I've heard an age-old adage that whoever mentions money first loses. So if you have to come forth and say what your previous wage was, as you said, you're already putting yourself...
You're on a back foot. But then, if it were like a completely equitable system, where men and women made the same amount of money, where people of varying levels of ability all earn the same amount of money, or people of color all earn the same amount of money as general standard, then it wouldn't be an issue. But the fact is that bias comes into wage rates much more often than we think. And so this would add transparency and start to build equity.
And finally, talk to us about the bill for employers who owe back wages in a database for us.
Yeah, there you go. If I break the law, my name and sometimes my picture gets published, and everyone has to see it. It's a factor of criminal justice. It's just a normal thing. Stealing somebody's wages by not paying them is a crime. And so if you do it, an employee has the right to go into a business and say, does this person have a history of not paying people? Or have they been slow or whatever? I mean, it could be somebody who has an entrepreneurial spirit and wants to find an employer who's sort of struggling and might be like, I can come in and change it, or I have too many mouths to feed. I need somebody who's rock solid no matter what.
I'm sure are there pushbacks from the employer side saying, well, if we haven't been found guilty in a court of law, you can't put our name out there. What's your response to that?
Yeah, so the Department of Labor has found that there's $5.8 billion of wage theft that occurs annually in this country, which averages out to around the loss of $3,000 per worker. Basic little aspects of wage theft are kind of a common business practice at this point, whether it's having people come in early and not get paid for putting on equipment, or have them stay a little later or work into their lunches. All of that is wage theft.
So there's these pieces of legislation today, but talk with us what else is on tops in your list for your legislative agenda for 2018.
So minimum wages is everything. right? So, I mean, we're supporters of the fight for 15, but we believe that the bill to raise it to 11 and 12, I believe Satchel's bill in Senate is the stronger version.
Okay.
Like, we love the vision of the $15 an hour, but we believe that that constant negotiation and coming back, we like the fight, right? So if we win a fight for 15, then we don't get to come back every year and fight for organized. We don't get to build power.
So is that what we see around the country again, this incremental raises?
Yeah. It's very hard to predict what markets are going to do and also predict the ability of people to organize to it. So we feel that pretty strongly, Jobs with Justice feels pretty strongly that it has to be a living wage fight and that we might be trapped by alliteration with the fight for 15 because by 2022, it might need to be like, we're going to take 20 or whatever. So it's like instead of getting
you need a new slogan.
A new slogan, right. So it's better to say like, yes, we need 15, but we needed that 5 years ago. Like now we need to move forward and figure out how to do that.
And what do you say when you hear from the businesses that say, I can't take an increase on the minimum wage, I'd have to lay workers off? You know the arguments from business. Yeah, and your response is?
It's that the Chamber of Commerce did a nationwide poll with Frank Luntz and found 60% of small businesses support a significant increase in the minimum wage. It's a distinct plurality. They feel it's inevitable. And it is. It's inevitable. I mean, we have a consumer-based economy, not a maker-based economy. That's the fact of it. So consumers have to buy things, and the way they buy things is by having money in their pockets.
Who would you say are the biggest legislative champions of the increase in the minimum wage?
I would say Aaron Regenberg, Senator Satchel, Gail Golden, Senator Golden, Senator Posada. We have a really, really strong Solomon. I mean, really, it's most of them. I'm just going to say most of them. And they may not know it yet.
That's sort of you can't pick a favorite.
I can't pick a favorite. I don't want to pick a favorite. But yeah, we have our champions are real champions.
So again, it's an increase in the minimum wage. Anything else you want to talk about while we have folks here?
That's the big one. Those are the big ones.
Well, Mike Araujo with Jobs with Justice. I appreciate you taking the time to come on. I'll let you go. It's getting busy here, but we'll be right back at the Rhode Island State House.
Thank you for that.